The Director General of the BBC and its head of news have resigned.
That's right, Shivan. The resignations come as a British broadcaster is facing criticism over bias in its coverage of several issues that include the Gaza war, trans rights and even Donald Trump.
Now, BBC's Director General Tim Davie and head of news Deborah Turness, they resigned after accusations that a documentary by its flagship Panorama programme had edited a speech by Trump in a misleading manner. BBC is set to apologise now for the way that it edited the speech.
In fact, responding to the news, Trump said that corrupt journalists had been exposed, adding these are very dishonest people who try to step on the scales of a presidential election. The White House had recently denounced the broadcaster as a propaganda machine and 100% fake news.
During the documentary broadcast last year, the doctored clip combined two separate parts of Trump's speech from January 6, 2021. It gave the impression that Trump urged his supporters to fight like hell after the Capitol riots, and the part where Trump asked his supporters to protest peacefully and patriotically was omitted. Trump had actually said they would cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, quote unquote.
Also, the White House press secretary had recently denounced the broadcaster as a propaganda machine and 100% fake news. The BBC had been under mounting pressure after an internal report by former standards advisor was leaked to the Daily Telegraph newspaper.
The leaked memo came from Michael Prescott, who's a former independent external advisor to BBC's editorial standards committee. He left the role in June. He's no longer with the BBC, but apart from the Panorama documentary, Prescott had raised concerns about a lack of action by the BBC to address systemic problems of bias in BBC Arabic's coverage of the Israel-Gaza war.
Also, reports said Prescott raised concerns about the BBC's coverage around trans issues. A parliamentary select committee had set a Monday deadline for the BBC to respond to the claims.
I think that the dossier from Michael Prescott has got some things in it that are right and some things that I think are wrong. But within it, the problem areas, I think, are, first of all, the Trump documentary and the edit, which doesn't seem to be defensible. Secondly, most BBC executives I've talked to over the years think BBC Arabic does need a very close eye kept on it. And whether that's been absolutely the BBC standard, I think, is in some doubt. Then also, there are wider issues about, did the BBC go too far in the direction of the trans lobby?
The departures of Davie and Turness appear to be an attempt to protect the BBC from further attacks. And Davie, who has led the British Broadcasting Corporation since 2020, said that he decided to leave after reflecting on the very intense personal and professional demands of managing this role over many years in these several times.
What I want to do is we are going to